So congratulations, you are now under contract to buy your brand new home. So now what? So this is Pete Montesino here. I'm your favorite lender. So I want to go over some of the next steps with you, hopefully to help guide you through what that process could look like. From lender to lender, it could be slightly different, but this way you have an idea of what that process could be. So first, you've got a contract. It's been accepted. So what next? You'll need to take your earnest money. So you wrote earnest money into the contract as a deposit when you and your agent put in your offer. Once that offer has been accepted, you'll need to deposit this earnest money with the title company. Usually your realtor can help guide you through this process. You'll contact the title company and they'll have some way or form for you to deposit those funds. Typically, you can upload. They have portals to upload the earnest money, or you can take a check and drop it off. So you'll deposit your earnest money and an option fee. More times than not, you're going to have what's called an option period. During this option period, it gives you the opportunity to do a home inspection. So why is a home inspection important, right? So the home inspection is important. It's not lender required, but it's always advised to get a home inspection, because you may walk into a home and say, man, this looks beautiful, but you're not going to see what's behind the walls. You're not going to know what's going on with the AC unit, the electrical, the plumbing, foundation work. You're not going to know with the naked eye. So a home inspector will come in and uncover much of the stuff that is deficient in the house. Now, once the inspection is complete, the inspector will provide you with the report, and you'll talk with your agent, and you'll figure out which of those items is a big ticket item. You may say, hey, I want to cancel this contract. I'm done. This house has too many problems. I'll tell you that every home has some problems. Okay. I don't care if it's a brand new house or an existing, every home has an issue. You're looking for the big stuff, right? Now, at that point, once you determine, okay, this stuff I can live with, or I want to go back to the seller and ask for concessions or repairs. Now, a couple things can happen here. You can ask for the repairs, for the seller to make these repairs prior to closing. That's always an idea. If it's not substantial or significant repairs, you may just say, hey, you know what, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, go ahead and give me these funds as a concession or a credit from you at closing. So let's say instead of doing all this work, you just want the seller to give you $3,000. Perfect. You know what that means? I mean, $3,000 less that you have to bring to closing of your own funds. You would then have retained $3,000 extra dollars. You can use it for those repairs if you feel like you are going to do those later. Okay, so now the inspection is complete. We've made it through the option period. So we're going to officially begin processing. Now, within that time as the lender, I will likely have disclosed the loan, sent out the preliminary disclosures. These are for you to just overlook and see, did I spell your name right? Are there any typos? Things like that. The loan terms we'd already discussed before you went under contract. All the things we're going to talk about there that we had talked about, you can review to make sure they are correct. So, that's what's going to happen while we're waiting during the option period to ensure that everything's okay with the house. So you've got disclosures. We've made it through the option period. You've e-signed what I needed you to e-sign. At this point, it's probably a good idea to start looking for insurance. So insurance is for the house, right? We call it hazard insurance. House burns down, tornado hits the house, God forbid, right? Or hurricane. We don't get a lot of hurricanes in North Texas, but we do get tornadoes from time to time, and severe weather and hail and all those things. So you can start looking for insurance. A lot of people will go to who they have for their automobiles and look there. Now, I've got great referrals if you want them. People I personally use for myself, willing to refer them to you. So that's an open mind. That's just a good time to start looking for that, because we will need insurance fairly quickly throughout the process. So now, once everything is complete, we'll go ahead and order the title work from the title company. We'll order the appraisal. So at this point, the appraisals are ordered. You're going to receive a payment link to pay for the appraisal. Most lenders all do it the same way. You pay for the appraisal because they're a third-party company, just like you did the inspector. The appraisal is required by the lender, so we will need the appraisal. The appraisal determines value. Okay, so I've gotten asked, why do you need that? Well, they're going to look at comparable homes in the area, see what other homes are selling for that are similar to yours. The realtor up front did their part by running comps. The appraiser's also going to run comps, and they just want to help ensure that what you're buying the house for is what it's worth. Okay, so once we have that complete, we will send you a copy of that as well. So typically, The appraisal and title work take a week or so, depending on where the house is located. It's typically a week or so for this to be returned. So while we're waiting on that return, I'd already gathered a bunch of information up front. Before, when I pre-qualified you or pre-approved you up front, before you even found a house, I gathered a bunch of information from you. At this point, took all that information, I sent it in for full approval. I had done the initial approval, so now we're going to do the full approval. That usually just takes a day or so to come back while we're waiting on the appraisal and everything else. I'm working on that in the background. Nothing needed from you. We're just giving updates, right? Letting you know what's going on. So at that point, let's say a week passes, we get the appraisal in, no problem. Title's looking good. Everything's great, right? The purpose of the title work really is to make sure there's no unknown liens or judgments or anything on the title the seller may have, so that when you purchase the home, you know that the only lien that's going to be on that house is the one that you put on it, which would be the initial loan. Okay, so and title's going to ensure that there's no defects, right? With title down the road, comes back and it says, hey, we found this mechanics lien from the seller 2 sellers ago. You know what? The title company insured it. You're protected. So it happens very rarely, but it does happen. So that's why we get the title work from the title company. So now we have the appraisal, we have the title, we send it all in to get it finally reviewed, and we are clear to close. You know, we love those 3 words in this business, is clear to close. At that point, we're going to go ahead and make sure we get the closing disclosure done, or the initial closing disclosure. So similar to like the initial disclosures we sent, we're going to send another estimate, which will basically recap all the information that we've collected through processing. That's going to be, we got your insurance company now, we've got the exact taxes and the exact cost, right? All the fees from the title company. You know, if there's a homeowner association, we needed to get that. There's all these little things we collect while we're in processing. So at that point, we will get the initial closing disclosure to you. It's very, very important you e-sign this closing disclosure. That is date sensitive. It's called TRID. The government put this in place in 2010, and they require us to have this signed 4 days before closing. So if you're closing on a Thursday, we have to sign that on a Monday, right? It's very, very important. Now, once you e-sign that, we'll finalize the numbers with the title company. Typically, we're really close. We'd already gathered most of it, but sometimes there's something trailing that we missed. But we want to make sure when you get that final closing disclosure that it is spot on and exactly correct, okay? So we're doing that. Now, after that, we're going to talk with your realtor, and we will work together with the realtor to schedule your closing. All right. So if you have the closing date on whatever day it is, you figure out a time that works good for you guys and you schedule your closing. Once I have that final number for cash to close, I'm going to let you know exactly to the penny what it is. You have 2 choices. You can go get a cashier's check from your bank, or you can call the title company and get their wiring instructions to wire the funds to the title company. Don't accept it by email. There's a lot of wire fraud out there. People are snatching, wires that are being sent and sending them off season. That money's gone forever. So contact the title company, verbally get that information over the phone, have them send you a secure document, password protected document to show you. It's the best way to do it to be safe. Okay. So that's it. You've got your closing scheduled. You've got your funds in line. You go to closing. Day of closing is easy. You take your pen, you take your driver's license, you sign away. Some of us do hybrid closings where you may e-sign a bunch of documents before you even go into the title company, so that when you get there, you only have to sign a few that are what we call wet signatures that are needed. Others, you may sign the whole packet. Could go either way. So closing funding, we table fund the loans 9 times out of 10, which means you're done signing, the seller's done signing, it funds. There's no lag in between waiting hours for the keys to the house or the funding to happen so you can get the keys to the house. So we usually fund right away. There's circumstances, depending on the loan type or the program, that it might have a little lag, but it's going to fund the same day. So that's it. You are officially a homeowner. Congratulations. So again, Pete Montesino, your favorite lender. If you need anything or have any questions, don't hesitate to call, ask, or reach out. Take care.